Thanks for joining me. We're here to talk about protecting ourselves from falls. Some of the biggest part of fall prevention is really understanding the facts behind falls. So, what we do know about falls, up to 30% of our community dwelling older adults fall each year. About 20% of these falls cause physical injury, and a half to two-thirds of the falls occur usually around the house or wherever you're living. This could be an apartment, your home, even community livings. It happens often in the apartments. A majority of these falls do occur during our daily routine. So maybe it's just getting up to use the bathroom in the middle of the night. Maybe it's making our beds. So it really is a part of the everyday things that we are doing. Falls usually aren't the cause by just one issue. It's usually a combination of things that makes us have a fall. And that's why we're here today, to really kind of sum up and talk about all the main points behind fall prevention, because a large portion of falls are preventable. So falls are common, they are predictable, and they are preventable. And falls are not a natural part of aging. And I think that's very important that we do discuss that falling is not normal for aging. I think as we get older, people assume that it is. It's one of these stereotypes that we want to work hard and really breaking, because we know with research we can prevent falls. And maybe it's a factor of medication or lower extremity weakness. Maybe it's an issue with balance or walking. So understanding really what is the issue behind us falling. So before we get there, we're kind of address about the fear of falling. The fear of falling alone can put you at risk of falling. So addressing that fear of falling and kind of building up our confidence so we can combat that fear of falling. Number one way to combat the fear of falling is by being able to identify what puts us at risk of a fall. So we can actually work together through our different sessions in fall prevention to really build a plan to prevent our falls. So some of these everyday little things we can do to prevent the fear of falling, ensuring we're walking appropriately with our devices, whether it's a rollator or a walker or even in the wheelchair, making sure that we're positioned in it correctly, whether it's your wheelchair, that way you're able to propel yourself appropriately and without all this extra effort and force. With your walkers, ensuring it's the proper height, that way you're not extending your arms too far or really kind of hunching yourself over while holding your walker. We shouldn't be walking as if we're walking with a shopping cart. We should have ourselves sitting up nice and tall, and we should be looking straight ahead when we are walking with our devices. So ensuring that they're fitted appropriately is our first step in really making sure we can prevent a fall from happening. And if you're not using a device, don't be afraid to talk to somebody about the decision to potentially use a device. Maybe you don't need it right now, but knowing the options and what's out there, even if it's really just to encourage you to feel more secure, so that you don't feel you might lose your balance when walking. Often we would recommend a walker over a cane, because a cane doesn't give us as much support because it's only on one side of the body. Meanwhile, the walker is on both sides. You get to hold it evenly and you're evenly distributing your weight while walking forward. So depending on the device and what your need is, but feel free to talk to your doctors, physical therapists, occupational therapists if you feel maybe you don't have a device or you just want to make sure the device you are using is appropriate for you. Next, in addressing that fear of falling and really preventing falls, ensuring you have the right footwear. You want to make sure that the shoe that you have on your foot, and making sure you have something on your feet at all times of the day, making sure it has a good grip bottom, lightweight, You want to make sure that that's a supportive shoe. We don't recommend slippers. They often don't have the support on the bottom. You might slide out of them. They're really not supportive to the foot. Even if you're getting out of the shower, make sure you have some kind of non-slip or grippy shoe that will kind of help, especially when you're around water. Even at night, if you're getting out of bed to run to the bathroom, that change in flooring from the bedroom into the bathroom, whether you're going onto tile, make sure you have something supportive. It could even be like those grippy hospital socks, or maybe you want like a rubber croc, something that has a good grip and is supportive to your foot, but we don't recommend you walk barefoot. So another step you can take to really prevent a future fall, ensuring you have proper footwear, also proper footwear for exercising, just as important. So really making sure you have adequate footwear no matter where you're going. Ensuring we are picking up our feet when we're taking each step. So it's not something we're consciously thinking of as we're walking from one place to the next, but making sure that we're actually picking up our feet as we're walking. That way we're not at risk of potentially slipping or tripping on our own foot, and that way we have a good even distribution through each foot, and we're really lifting that foot to clear our foot as we're walking. Next, using handrails, whether you're transferring to sit to a chair, moving to your shower chair, if there are handrails available, use them. They're a good safety tool. It's really just to make sure that you can get your balance. If they're available, use them. It's an extra safety precaution. It's something to hold on to make sure you're not losing your balance while you're transferring to a different surface to sit. This often might be in the bathroom, whether you're going on and off the toilet or onto the shower bench. If it's available, definitely use it to your advantage. It's an extra safety tool to keep yourself safe when transferring. Making sure you're not getting up too quickly. So oftentimes we might get, if we move too quickly, whether we're going from laying down in bed to sitting up, or we've been sitting for a long period of time and we stand up too quickly, making sure that we're not dizzy or lightheaded when we do so. So really making sure we give ourselves enough time and really stop before we start to move to make sure we aren't dizzy, and that we, if you need to sit back down and kind of wait a few minutes, even getting up too quickly is often something that can put us at risk of a fall, as if you're dizzy. If you do experience dizziness or lightheadedness, I definitely recommend speaking to your doctor, making sure that your lightheaded and dizziness is not a symptom of your different medications being involved with each other, causing some kind of side effects or symptoms, because being dizzy or lightheaded could put you at risk of a fall and kind of disorient you a little bit when you're trying to walk safely. And then lastly, to really address our fear of falling, is being able to identify some of these environmental hazards that could put us at risk of a fall. It could include seeing a rip in your carpet, part of your carpet is standing up, something that you could get caught on in the carpet. It could include clutter. Maybe you just have clutter around your apartment, and making sure you have a good clearance to really walk through safely. Even in the community, make sure that there's no spills or food on the floor, something that can't get on the bottom of your foot and slip. So just being able to identify some of those environmental hazards that could put us at risk of a fall, you're already in the right direction to preventing a fall and being more aware so that a fall doesn't occur. Also make sure that you have good lighting when you are going to walk. It might not be a concern during the day, but really think about at night. If you are going to be that person that gets up in the middle of the night to go use the bathroom, reach for the closest light to you. Maybe you keep a night light in the bathroom. That way you have a well-lit path to where you're going and you can get there safely. But half of the time, not having enough lighting You can't really see your environment clearly, and you don't want to have a fall, especially at night. So make sure you do have good lighting if you are going to get up. It's one of those little things that we can control and helping us to prevent a future fall. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about speaking with your doctor if you've had a fall or if you're concerned about a fall. Many people won't say anything if they've had a fall, but I do recommend you find someone to talk to, even if it's just your doctor, about having a fall or that concern of having a fall, because most likely your doctors can review your multiple medications, ensure that they're not counteracting and reacting with each other, especially if you're on more than one medication. They'll make sure that your medications aren't causing lightheadedness and dizziness and things that could be impacting your ability to really walk safely, and preventing a future fall. Even sleepiness, some of our medications can make us kind of sleepy. So making sure that that's not going to impact us and really navigating our environment safely. They can also evaluate your risk of a fall. So if you're at risk of a fall, often the doctors can determine why you're at risk of a fall. There's usually more than one thing that puts you at risk of a fall. Maybe it's lower body weakness, maybe you're having difficulty walking or balance concerns. Speak with your doctors. They're more than happy to talk to you. They're most likely willing to write you a script for physical therapy or occupational therapy to really improve in these areas so that you can get around safely. So don't be afraid to talk to them. They're most likely going to be the first ones to jump on it and make sure that you have everything you need. That way you are going to be preventing a fall or preventing something from happening in the future. And we know we can prevent falls. And these might be the little steps that we take in preventing that fall. So don't be afraid to talk to your doctors. They're a great resource. They're very willing to help in that prevention of a fall. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about your regular exercise routine. We know that the more you exercise, it's good for your mind and your body. It's going to keep you strong. But when it comes to exercise for fall prevention, we really want to make sure you're including exercise in all the different exercise categories to make sure you're really addressing what could put you at risk of a fall. So we don't want you just doing your cardio or your strengthening. You should really have a good balance and mixture of physical activity. So we want balancing exercises, we want stretching, we want that strengthening and aerobic exercise. You want to make sure if you are exercising, be aware of the temperatures you're exercising. If it's extreme hots or extreme colds, maybe make sure that you're exercising inside. Make sure you're breathing through your exercises and pay attention and listen to your body during physical activity. Rest if you're starting to feel fatigue, take breaks in between. You really should be listening to your body during your exercise, and there's nothing wrong with taking rest breaks. But the goal of exercising for fall prevention is really to improve these balance skills, the overall flexibility, strengthening, especially of the thigh muscles that are needed for sitting and standing and getting up and down safely, improving your coordination, and improving overall conditioning. So this could even include your endurance, making sure that you can walk for 5 minutes at a time without being out of breath and tired. And that could be something that you continue to work on and improve over time. Lastly, my biggest tip with fall prevention, do not be afraid to ask for help. Keep your hands free when you're walking and navigating safely. If you're someone who uses a walker or a wheelchair, use a basket on your walker, have a wheelchair bag, any of those daily items that you need to carry with you, put them in a bag so your hands are free to really navigate and walk safely. Talk to someone if you're having concerns of a fall. When you are using those baskets and bags to carry your items, make sure you're not putting too many heavy items, especially in the basket on the front of your walker, because if it is too heavy, your walker can tip and you are going to tip with your walker. So don't be afraid to ask for help, especially for some of those bigger deliveries, bigger packages. Maybe you went to the store and have items that need to be brought in now. Don't be afraid to ask for help, because even carrying too many items or not keeping your hands free for you to walk safely can put you at risk of a fall. So, really, just plan out these trips. Don't be afraid to ask for help, and talk to someone if you're concerned about your falls. And make sure that you understand what a fall is at the same time. A fall doesn't mean you always land on the floor. You could have a trip. Maybe you are kind of starting to fall and you fall in your chair, fall in your bed. These still count as falls. Even if you don't end up hurt or if you don't end up on the floor, they are still considered falls and we can prevent them. So don't be afraid to speak up and say something, because the goal is to prevent falls and continue to live active, safe, and healthy lives. So I hope all of this was super beneficial, because I think fall prevention is super important because we want to continue to live active and safe lives, especially as we get older. So continue all of the tips and tricks that we've talked about over the weeks, and I hope this has been helpful. And let's prevent the falls before they happen. Thank you.